WMMA scene now, coming to you again with your host Chuck Stevenson. Guys, we've got some breaking news. Today UFC announced 3 ladies fights for Fight Night 129. When is that? May 19th in Santiago, Chile. UFC's first event in Chile. Let's see, starting off, we're going to start with, and these are some good fights. Starting off in the Flyweight division, we have Andrea KGBL making her UFC debut, taking on Veronica Macedo, who's dropping down from bantamweight, going to fight at flyweight. So Andrea Lee, she's 8-2. A lot of hype surrounding her. She did have a bit of a setback getting into the UFC. She had to do 6 months of testing with no fight because of her previous PED bust. She got busted for a diuretic. Veronica Macedo hasn't fought since was it like December of 2016, and she's sitting at 5-1-1. She lost her UFC debut to Ashley Evans Smith. I think it's an interesting fight. Andrea Lee is on a bit of a tear, but she's also earned a bit of a reputation as a bit of a can crusher. Macedo, didn't really get to see much of her, what she can do in her last fight. She was just so outsized against a much larger Ashley Evans Smith. So I think this is a fight to decide, which one of these is UFC caliber. Next up in the Strawweight division, we have Pollyanna Patel at 6-1 versus Syuri Kondo, who's sitting at a perfect 6-0. Pollyanna Patel just fought, what was it, like? She last fought in October. She beat Pearl Gonzalez in her UFC debut, won a unanimous decision. That wasn't even a competitive fight. Botelho just owned Gonzalez. And then Syuri Kondo is coming off her UFC debut, where she won a split decision over Chan Mi-jan in Japan. This will be an interesting fight. Kondo's on a tear. Botelho's doing pretty good. I think, well, I'm not going to make any predictions in this fight. It'll be an interesting matchup. Kondo's pretty well rounded, but primarily a wrestler. And also comes from a pro wrestling background. And to quote Sakuraba, pro wrestling is indeed strong. And then finally, also in the Strawweight division, big fight, big matchup. I'm very excited for this one. We have Alexa Grasso, 10-1, versus Tatiana Suarez, sitting at 5-0. Grasso's coming off an injury, I believe. She last fought in, let me see. She last fought in August, where she won a split decision over Randa Marcos in Mexico City. Suarez is coming off, I believe it was a unanimous decision. Yep, unanimous decision over Viviane Syuri Pereira at UFC Fight Night 120. That was back on, that was on Veterans Day. Suarez was dominant over Pereira in that fight. Very strong, If you watched her, you know what she's all about. She's an Olympic wrestler. She's going to take you down, and she's going to control you. She's going to rain down some GMP. Grasso, she comes from a boxing family, comes from a boxing background. Her head coach is a former professional boxer. Trains out of Lobo Gym. Turns out plenty of female prospects out of Mexico down there in Guadalajara. So this is going to be setting up to be a classic striker versus grappler battle. A lot of guys on the forums are already saying, "Oh, this is a big mismatch. Suarez is going to take down Grasso and tear her up." Blah 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 blah. Well, maybe not. Suarez is I'd say Grasso is definitely a step up for Suarez. Suarez is only 5 fights in, whereas Grasso has 11 fights. Suarez hasn't faced a striker the caliber of Grasso yet, either. These are both prospects. This is a very good prospect fight. A lot of people complain, "Well, why are you going to kill off prospects?" Well, if they're really still just prospects, then one loss doesn't kill them. So guys, let me know what you think about these matchups in the comments down below. If you like the video, give it a like. And what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA now, the fastest growing women's platform on YouTube. Women's mixed martial arts platform on YouTube.